Hello and welcome to Module 5, where we look at how to find products to sell on eBay, Amazon and our own websites. Now, what determines what you sell is dependent on your strategy, which I would define as broadly falling into two areas. Now, I'm sure there's a fancy MBA kind of term to describe what I'm going to say, but I see it as falling into one of two categories. And that is either generalist or specialist. By specialist, what I mean is having a product that falls into one category, i.e. sporting goods, musical goods, etc. The pros are that it's easier to create a brand, it's easier to market on social media and create a following with an email list and so on. It's also going to be easier to sell the business later on for a higher multiple, because buyers like to have a story about the business, how it started, unique selling point and such like. This is an example here. There's one here called, in the UK, there's one here called Volksbits, and that's a store that specializes in spare parts for Volkswagen. Now, they have a very wide range, as you can see, of related products. They probably have a good sourcing operation, and most importantly, their specialist approach gives them credibility with customers. They can also add specialist knowledge to the mix, which makes it easier in cases of customer queries and the like. The problem here is that if you decide to concentrate on musical accessories, for example, there's probably a good chance that you'll have some slower products, i.e. you're going to have quite a large inventory to be credible in the marketplace, and some of these products are probably not going to be shifting as fast as you'd like. With a generalist approach, the pros and the cons are exactly inverted, so it's easier to concentrate on best-selling products from entirely unrelated industries, but then it's going to be harder to have a coherent website that looks good, a social media campaign, a strong email list to which you can upsell and so on. So I guess the answer regarding which one to go for really depends on your own circumstances. I started out as a generalist, and through trial and error I discovered a number of successful niches and then branched out from there. A lot of successful sellers do the opposite, and as I said, it will be ultimately depending on your priorities. So how do we find a product to sell? Well, we're lucky to have a transparent system online where we can see what's already selling. We know from before that on eBay we can see the exact sales figures. On Amazon we can't see the exact sales figures, but we can get a pretty good indication of a product's popularity using the number of feedbacks. So let's run an example of how to find some good products to sell. Step number one is define a broad interest, for example, music, sports, kitchenware and so on. This can be a passion, something you like doing after hours with your kids, or just a hunch you might have about a trend that is coming our way. Step number two is go to eBay, and why don't we go to ebay.com and let's look at a search term of sport, which is an evergreen pursuit. So if we key in sport, you can see there's two types of suggestions which eBay gives us. The first one is the drop down menu, the suggested searches drop down. I don't really see much here that looks interesting. There's plenty of clothes. Frankly, I wouldn't recommend to start with these, as there's a lot of colors and sizes, and it's very much dominated with brands. So let's leave that aside and let's have a look at the related search suggestions which eBay give us. Sport bags could be a good one. Let's go to exercise. So this one here, useful fitness equipment tube workout, this could be a good product, but it's very, very cheap at $1.62, including postage from China. So let's leave that one aside for the moment. So this one here could be interesting. 11-piece exercise latex resistance band. So what's interesting here is that $14.59 seems like a reasonable price, and also it's shipped from Hong Kong. So if we match this price, we'll be onto a winner due to the shorter delivery time. Let's go inside to see how many they're selling and how fast. So they've sold 108 units. And they seem to be selling about 4 a day, which isn't bad. Right, so that's an option. So this is something we possibly might be interested in sourcing ourselves. Let's have a look at what's happening on Amazon with the same search terms. Right, so just remember there's two ways you can sell on Amazon. The first one is to create your own listing. It means you can have your own brands. However, you can't jump on anyone else's listing and use their sales history to accelerate sales. On the other way, which I always see as a short-term cash generator, but not suitable for a long-term building of your business, is to utilize someone else's listing. So to do that, you need to choose a listing which is identical to your product, i.e. colors, dimensions, and any bags and such like. So let's have a look at some of these ones. So the top listing here is this one here, Bundle Monster. So let's go inside and have a quick look. So could we utilize this listing? It does have two other sellers, one of which being Bundle Monsters themselves. The other one is Miki Amara. Usually when you have additional sellers on there, that's a sign that there's no brand involved and such like. However, what seems a bit of a worry here is the fact that there is a logo on the bag. So customers would be expecting to receive that same bag because obviously that's in the description. So whoever jumps on this listing, they can either copy this logo, which would be illegal, or they can send the bag without the logo, which is going to cause customers to complain. So really this wouldn't be a listing that I think you should go on in this instance. Let's have a look at something else. It's not a bad listing in terms of feedback. It's got 30. However, this one here, it's got 51. So that's better. So this is, let's see, there doesn't seem to be any logos of any kind. So that's good. So this one is an option. And there is quite a few other sellers on here, which again is a good sign in this instance. That's great. So if you wanted to go ahead and list your product, what you would do is you scroll down to the bottom here on the right and you click on the Sell on Amazon button, answer a few simple questions, and your product is ready to be sold. This leads us to the end of Module 5, and I'll see you in Module 6, where we'll be discussing selling overseas.